Let me ask you something and see if this feels familiar. You know those people who seem to have a kind of sixth sense? The ones who can read a room in a split second? What if I told you that for many of them, that ability wasn't a gift, it was built? And what if this hidden intelligence has a name? And understanding it could change, well, everything.
See, this kind of intelligence isn't learned, it's forged, it's developed, a lot like scar tissue, slowly, painfully, and because it absolutely had to. These are the people who were always told they were too anxious, too sensitive, or just plain too much. So if you've ever felt like your brain is running on a totally different operating system, this might be the first time it all starts to click into place.
We're going to talk about something called traumatic intelligence. And look, before you get thrown by the name, just hear me out. It's basically a unique set of high-level skills, things like hypervigilance, that sixth sense I mentioned, and this really deep empathy. But they develop as a survival toolkit when you grow up in a tough or unpredictable environment. The key thing to get here, this is a profound adaptation. It is not a personal flaw.
All right, so what does this intelligence actually look like in the real world? Let's dive into the first two signs. These are all about perceiving things in a way that, frankly, most people just don't.
Yeah, and this isn't about being a human lie detector or some kind of party trick. It's way more subtle. It's when someone walks into a room and before they even open their mouth, you've already clocked it. That tiny flicker of an expression, a smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes, the slight tension in their shoulders. And here's the thing, you're usually right. Right so often that it can make other people uncomfortable. And sometimes, if we're being honest, it unnerves you too.
So let's reframe this whole thing. What if you were never just anxious or overly sensitive? What's really going on is something psychologists call hypervigilance. Think about it. If a kid's environment is emotionally all over the place, their brain has to adapt. It becomes incredibly tuned in to every little signal just to stay safe. That so-called sensitivity, it's actually a high-level survival skill. And it doesn't just have an off switch once the danger is gone.
Have you ever had that feeling where you just knew a friendship was over way before anyone said anything? Or you felt a relationship shift long before the big, difficult conversation ever happened? You couldn't point to any hard evidence, you couldn't make a logical case for it, but you just felt it in your bones. And then you turned out to be right.
And there's a powerful scientific reason for this. It turns out that really intense, difficult experiences get processed differently in the brain. They're often encoded in the body, bypassing the parts of our brain that use words and logic. So what this means, and this is so important, is that your nervous system literally has an awareness that your conscious thinking brain hasn't caught up to yet. You feel the truth before you can explain it. It's a completely different kind of knowing.
Okay, but having this kind of high-definition awareness, it comes with a price. It's heavy. So let's talk about the sheer cognitive and emotional weight that comes with this kind of intelligence.
You know, most people really want life to be simple. They want good guys and bad guys, clear answers. But you probably made peace a long time ago with the fact that life is just messy. That's why you can listen to a friend's complicated story without immediately needing to pick a side. You just get that people are full of contradictions. And this is really the heart of it, right? You get that two things that feel like total opposites can both be true at the exact same time. Like someone can love you and still hurt you. Growing up in an environment where maybe the person who was supposed to protect you was also the person who scared you, well, it forces your mind to develop a certain kind of sophistication. You learned really early on that the world doesn't fit into neat little boxes. And I don't just mean you're good at saying the right thing when someone's upset. I mean you feel other people's pain like it's actually happening inside your own body. There's a term for this, emotional contagion. You literally catch other people's feelings. A sad story from a total stranger can make your own chest ache. It can get so confusing trying to figure out where your feelings end and someone else's begin. But let's be real, this incredible empathy, this deep knowing, it definitely has a shadow side. These abilities come with very real risks. That amazing pattern recognition system, sometimes it misfires and you see a threat in a totally neutral situation. That intense empathy, it can easily tip over into taking way too much responsibility, leaving you carrying emotional baggage that was never yours to begin with. And just the constant scanning of your environment, it is absolutely exhausting. This isn't a flaw in you. It's the natural consequence of having a finely tuned system that's always on high alert. All right, these next two signs can be the toughest to look at. They're about behaviors that feel like they're working against us, but I promise you, There is a hidden, protective logic behind them. This one can be tough to admit, even to yourself. You work so hard for something, a healthy relationship, a big career opportunity, and just when it's about to become real, you do something to mess it up. You pick a fight, you find a fatal flaw, you walk away before you can be walked away from. So what on earth is that about? The common perception, maybe even your own, is that it's self-sabotage, that deep down you must want to fail. But the real reason is that it's a learned protective response. If calm and stability weren't the norm for you growing up, your nervous system can literally mistake the feeling of safety for a threat. Calm becomes that terrifying quiet before the storm. You don't actually want to fail. Your body is just trying to protect you from a danger it thinks is coming. I'm talking about a mental narration that you cannot turn off. It's involuntary. Why do they use that tone of voice? Why does the situation feel so familiar? Okay, why am I reacting this way? You analyze your own inner world with a level of detail most people only use for, I don't know, a complex work project. You know, this is actually a well-documented outcome of getting through hard times. It's sometimes called post-traumatic growth. A mind that was forced to try and make sense of a situation that made no sense at all gets exceptionally good at searching for meaning everywhere. And that constant search for why, it builds a deeper, more complex inner life. And this brings us to the final sign, which might just be the most frustrating, maddening part of this entire experience. Oh, you know your patterns, you can name them, you can trace them all the way back to their roots. You could probably explain them to a therapist with stunning, heartbreaking clarity. You understand yourself on a level that is so, so deep, and frankly, just exhausting. And here it is, the big question. If you are so incredibly self-aware, why do you still find yourself watching, almost like a movie, as you fall into the exact same traps and react in the exact same ways, even when a part of you is screaming, "Don't do it"? This right here, this is the quietly devastating gap between knowing better and doing better. And here's the crucial thing to understand. Awareness is not the same thing as healing. It is the absolute non-negotiable first step. But your brain doesn't rewire itself just from inside alone. It updates through new, repeated experiences that slowly, patiently teach your body that it's actually safe now. So where does that leave you? Well, let's try to shift our focus a little, away from the difficulty of the past and towards the potential of the future. A future built on this very different, hard-won kind of knowing. Okay, so your path forward isn't about trying to erase any of this. It's about learning how to use it. So, step 1, acknowledge these traits for what they are. Stop seeing them as baggage and start calling them what they are: skills, your hard-won intelligence. Step 2, self-compassion, and I mean radical self-compassion. That gap between knowing and doing, it's human. The next time you see yourself fall into an old pattern, instead of beating yourself up, try telling yourself, this is a protective habit that I don't need anymore. And step 3, use your deep awareness as the starting line for change, not the finish line. This is your foundation. This is where you can start practicing simple things like a breathing exercise, just breathing in for 4 seconds and out for 6, to tell your nervous system it's safe. It's the foundation that makes seeking support, like from a therapist, so much more powerful, because you're already halfway there. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. This entire set of skills, this unique and powerful intelligence, it was all developed to help you survive. The old question that probably haunts you is, how do I make this stop? The new question, the more powerful question, is this. This intelligence helped you survive. What could it help you build?